So according to the latest AdTech survey of marketeers, which is our annual Drivers of Growth report, only 28% marketers feel that their first-party data is fully utilized. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Leadership Lens, where we speak with global leaders on what's trending in the ecosystem. Now, first-party data is a big contention point among all marketers. Now, Google may have yet again postponed the cookie deprecation bit, but it is that time where all marketers today are working towards the art of maximizing the value of the data that they own. They have a need to offer consistent, coherent customer experiences and also have some kind of control over this customer journey. And this is becoming more and more important because of which marketers are adopting a holistic approach to data management, analytics, so that they can drive sustainable value creation for the brand and for the consumer. To speak with us more about this today and to shed some more light on unlocking the hidden value of our data is Alban Villani, Regional CEO for India, Southeast Asia, and Europe for Epsilon. Welcome, Alban. It's great to have you on the Leadership Lens.
Hi, and thank you so much for inviting me. Very happy to be here.
Wonderful. So, Alban, you've done a lot of work here with a lot of brands, retail agencies, partners, driving them through the digital transformation bit, which was the last 10 years. And identity resolution comes as a big part of it. The technology for loyalty programs, for retail media, for first-party data ownership. It must have been, quite a wonderful journey per se, and I hope we can get some pearls of wisdom from you today. In today's marketing environment, how important do you think is a data-driven or an identity-based approach, a customer-centric approach? How important is it really, or is this just another gimmick or trend that has come and passed?
Yes, thanks for the question. And no, I don't think it is just a gimmick. It is indeed a trend, though. There's a clear value that retailers and advertisers out there start to understand and start to want to apply to their industry. Historically, I think the main problem was probably a misunderstanding. The retailers, the advertisers, they were always focusing on their ability to convert, and that makes total sense, right? I mean, after all, your business, you need to run it. The problem is sometimes you also need to understand how you run your business and what kind of conversions you can drive. And we need to, in order to drive better quality conversions, we also need to make sure that we are talking to the right users. If not, what's going to happen is that over time, you're going to progressively waste a lot of your budgets, of your marketing budgets. And this could amount to a lot of money when you think about it. So first-party data helps solve this problem. And there was a lot of acceleration around the first-party data concept in the last few years. And we all know that this is also directed by the changes in this industry from, for example, Google planning to change the cookies adoption. That's all good. The thing is, historically, the marketing budgets were always directed to campaigns based on third-party data campaigns. And we think that obviously it has its merit, but we do think that a more accurate way of envisioning marketing is through first-party data. What it means that you need to be able to talk to the right person at the right moment. And by right person, I do mean it. I'm talking about the person. I'm not talking about the device. Think about it as you want to make sure that you're not going to confuse the message that you send, maybe by sending it to the kids in the family instead of the father. You also need to make sure that you're not going to send it on the wrong device, and you're going to make sure that you talk to the right person. This means that the quality of the delivery of the message that you deliver is going to be much, much higher. This will increase the credibility of the brand. This will increase the quality of the conversion. And in general, I think this would increase the trust in marketing technologies like Epsilon.
Wonderful. And what I hear is that this is a lot more power and a lot more control to the marketer sitting there, who is, not really behind a walled garden per se anymore, with first party data and with identity resolution. I think not just data, identity resolution. It is going to be an important and a game changing piece that Epsilon has brought in. Tell me about first party data. How important is this for identity based marketing? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, it is essential. You cannot think about identity resolution without talking about first party identity. The way we look at it is, and that's why we call it identity resolution, by the way. We want to talk to the right person, right? I mentioned it earlier. We want to make sure that we combine information that we receive from our clients, and this information can be, or actually need to be, from online or offline worlds, and we are here to make sure that we match this information. That's the only way we can absolutely know for sure that we're talking to the right person. We obviously, in the process, hash or encrypt the information so that there is nothing that could be problematic in terms of knowing exactly where a person lives, for example, or how to reach out to the person and use the email address for something else. We want to ensure that we only use this identity resolution for a specific campaign that has been agreed by the retailer, and also where we have received the consent from the user. In that regard, we are fully GDPR compliant. We've always been, and we've probably been one of the first companies to have this capacity. So moving forward, I think this is going to happen to the whole industry. You need to look at it from an ethical perspective. You need to understand that identity resolution, at the end of the day, is here to ensure that the future of marketing is going to be based on a much more solid ground. And that's exactly what we are, why we are here, in fact.
Wonderful. I remember, Alban, way back in 2009 or something, Google, started retargeting or remarketing, as they called it. The technology came to India, and we were also excited about it. In the years, in the next 10, 13 years that we've had, marketers had actually perfected the art of sending the right message at the right time. And now with this whole cookie deprecation thing, again, that seems like in jeopardy. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Epsilon's identity platform and how it kind of helps streamline the connected consumer journey?
Yes. So I mentioned about the identity resolution, and this is, when you think about it, this is a way for us to use tools that will better serve the retailers out there. Or it could be the brands, by the way. The way we look at it is that we have a suite of products that are built around the core ID. Core IDs are a definition of the identity resolution. So we can address the entirety of the marketing funnel. We can obviously take care of retargeting campaigns. We can look at acquisition and retention for our clients. We can also go deeper by having tools that help with the on-site personalization. So creating a better audience segmentation, visualizing it, and then making sure that you can activate against it. On top of it, we have deeper type of integration that could be on the retail media side, where we have a unique, unified platform for on-site and off-site. And we can even couple this with deep platforms that will help with loyalty programs, for example, and with the plans around CDPs. Why is it important? It's because you might want to start with a relatively simple campaign to acquire a user or acquire a customer. But then you need to start thinking about everything else. You need to start thinking about how to maximize how to retain this customer, how to maximize the relationship that you have with brands. If you're a retailer, that would be with retail media. You need to start thinking about building a loyalty program that can encompass everything else that we are able to provide. And you need to market it. And so we can provide this as one unique platform, and we can do this at scale across all countries in the world.
Wonderful. I think that is a full funnel solution that a lot of marketers that I'm talking to are looking for. In fact, someone just told me today morning that they want to speak with someone who has these capabilities exactly. And I understand the Epsilon's platform is also AI by design. So can you tell me a little more about the predictive analysis, the personalization, on identity focused campaigns? How does AI really fit into all this?
Yes, so AI can mean a lot of things, right? So you first need to distinguish between predictive and generative AI. So what we are talking about, what we are not talking about here is generative AI. But why? Because generative AI is all about the content. It is a way to automatically generate content and formats, and that's going to take care of everything creative around it. So generative AI is a very big part of the technology that we have at the Publicis Group. Now, if we look at Epsilon, we couple this with predictive AI. And predictive AI, think about this more as a very, very clear and accurate tool to understand whom to reach, where to reach the person, when to reach the person, and also more importantly, what to propose to the person. So that's exactly, and so the prediction in it is that we are using statistics, we are using algorithms, we are using historical data patterns. We are basically forecasting outcomes based on everything that has been done, whether it is the behavioral information, whether it is product information, whether it is the context information. All of this combined is a great way for us to be able to provide something that is fully autonomous, and that will require minimal human intervention. And so we couple this with obviously all the tools that we have and that I mentioned earlier. And this is tied to, once again, the core idea that I explained. If you combine predictive AI and identity resolution, it means that you will be able to also take into account who the person really is and where the person tends to buy or what the person tends to visit. So that to me is a great way to respect, in fact, the customer. It's a great way to ensure that we are not making mistakes and we are able to do this at scale. Because if you start having or doing campaigns like this manually, you can imagine that the margin of error is going to be extremely high. So that's definitely not something that we want to do. That's why we have built these algorithms.
Absolutely. The number of human hours that this AI kind of helps mine the data and provide the correct solutions, the correct time to kind of reach that person is important. Can you tell me a little bit more about this, Alban? It's a very fascinating topic of, how are you doing personalization at scale for your, for your clients?
Yeah, so human errors can happen, as we all know. The problem is that if the human error means that you're not showing the right variation of product to a person at a specific time, is it the end of the world? No. Is it a problem? Yes, for marketing budgets. It means that you're going to, at scale again, you're going to waste a lot of your money on this. And you're most probably going to make a user unhappy. But then it can become a lot more problematic. If you can make mistakes that will show something to a user that the user absolutely do not want to see. And in cases like this, you might lose the user forever. And as a brand, this is not what you want to do. In fact, this is the opposite of what you're trying to do. So what we are doing is that we are minimizing the risk of errors by applying the rules that have been defined, obviously in conjunction with the retailers, and we are applying this to all the campaigns that we can run. We have done this for years now, and we are getting better and better at it by fine-tuning the algorithms that we have. So that's typically where we see the industry going. We think that the industry is going to be a lot more precise in the future. And what's important is going to also be very precise in the way it's going to measure the results. Because you obviously can predict and make sure that you show the right things, but the important part as well is to be able to learn from what you have done. AI is allowing you to do this. You are going to set a certain ROAS objective. You're going to set, and this is very important, certain incremental ROAS as well. And then the algorithm is going to start processing this information and progressively get better at running these types of campaigns in a specific industry. So that's exactly what we are trying to do. We are trying to also focus on the incremental ROAS because we think this is the real measurement for the future of the industry.
I'm glad you touched upon the ROAS bit because that is, apart from this full funnel piece, this is the ROAS and measurement is the, I think the biggest pain point for marketers, everyone I speak to is talking the same language over a period of years. So looks like we still haven't hit upon that perfect solution for measurement. But I'd love to hear how you are tackling it, to measure the value of the data. How are you figuring out the effectiveness of campaigns, the quality of the data that you have?
Yeah, so that's the thing. We can go extremely deep in the understanding of the insights of the data, really. So data can mean the data from the campaign, so actual campaign insights, right? Or it could be actual data from the retailer. And so depending on the retailers, depending on the clients, sometimes they want to also get better at understanding their own first-party data, and we can help them with this information. We can create custom reports, we can create custom insights review, and we have specialists, data analysts to run this. In parallel, we have, for many of our products, we are also able to provide a platform with an access to the metrics, the campaign metrics. And this is important because that's how you define whether or not a campaign is successful. And this is also how you can make sure that the next campaign is going to be better. We can provide, and we tend to provide metrics that are very deep, but we also try to explain that it's better sometimes to look at relatively simple measurement tools. And that is also why we want to look at the real value that we bring. The real value that we bring, sometimes this is a misunderstanding with the industry. The industry is looking, generally speaking, at the ROAS number. We think that this is not enough. We need to look at this in a more holistic way, and that is what we call incremental ROAS. I'll give you the example of retail media. If you run a campaign just on-site, you're going to only get a very, very limited view, which is going to depend on the attribution of the ROAS. But you also need to take into account what's going to happen once the user has left the website or the application. You're going to look at the off-site attribution, you're going to look at the off-site behavior, and you want to reconcile this. And that's where, in the majority of the tools out there, you're not able to match the information. We can do this. So we have this platform where you can unify all the information and you can look at one incremental ROAS metrics across on-site and off-site. That's what we are releasing to the entire market right now, and we are seeing a great adoption.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Alban. This is a eye-opening conversation, and there is so much more that Epsilon offers to marketers that they can explore, even with cookie deprecation, even with the challenges of first-party data. I think we have a lot of tech coming into the rescue, and thank you so much for bringing all this to us. Wonderful to see you again, and I hope to catch you in our future events.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the great questions.